Hey nerds, Farmer Jesse here. Got a fun video for you all this week. When I took that awesome little trip up to Maryland / Washington, D.C. recently, I got to swing in and visit with our friends at Foop, who, in the name of full disclosure, are sponsors of our show. And anyway, I got them to show me around their facility and talk biochar and how they inoculate their biochar and how their aquaculture system could inoculate untold amounts of biochar on a really large scale, which is awesome, but also could be utilized by large-scale fisheries for filtration to prevent eutrophication in waterways. So yeah, it was very cool. So I'm going to pretty much just hand the rest of the video over to them to tell you about this amazing biochar filtered aquaculture system they've designed. Yeah, all right, so without further ado, here are our friends Larry and Justin of Foop Organic Biosciences.
Hi there, my name is Justin Casp and I'm the Director of Aquaculture here at Foop Organic Biosciences. I want to take a few minutes today to show you a little bit about our aquaculture facility and how we use biochar as a product that we manufacture and sell, and how we use it in our aquaculture facility in order to make it the special version of the product itself. So we have a recirculating tilapia aquaculture system here. And we've got it's about an 8,000 gallon above ground swimming pool, your standard backyard swimming pool that we've filled up with our, special, water and growing the fish in here. And the way we filter this water is fairly non-standard compared to most tilapia aquaculture facilities. And we are producing a product called biochar, and we're using the biochar to filter the water. And in the process of doing that filtration process, the end product for us is this inoculated biochar. So biochar is plant matter that has gone through a process called pyrolysis, where you take raw wood, and in our case, we're taking Douglas fir chips, and it goes through essentially a non-oxygenated burning process. And what we're doing is, what that is it drives off all of the, phosphorus and nitrogen, everything besides carbon in the plant material under a fairly high heat but low oxygen. So it doesn't burn and turn to ash. Instead we get, what's left is charcoal, kind of like what you would use in a barbecue grill. And that material becomes very porous and very lightweight. And one of the analogies I like to use is sort of a dry kitchen sponge. So you have this object that now has all these small pores, super high surface area, sometimes as much as a football field in a piece the size of like your thumb. And that sponge can then absorb all kinds of, absorb moisture, absorbs nutrients. It has a very high affinity for nitrogen and phosphorus. And it also serves as a home for microbes. And so what we have found is, similar to when you have a 10-gallon fish tank or something like that, and you buy the little cartridge at the pet store, and you put it in the back and it filters the water and makes it nice and clean. And then you would take that little pack of charcoal out, you'd throw it away and put a new one in. And so it's a very simple, but also very effective way to get clean water. And what we have done is take a type of biochar that has a very specific particle size that is useful in horticulture, and we're using it in the same sense as what you would find at on a small scale and in the home aquarium, and using that biochar to filter out all the impurities from the water, all the nutrients, and also a lot of the natural microbial population in the water that finds a home in the biochar, again, because of its porosity. And as the biochar absorbs all the nutrients from the water, it leaves the water nice and clear. The tilapia are really happy because of that. And we basically take all the food and all the waste, cycles through the tilapia, and ends up in the biochar. And that product in the end becomes super useful for plants because it has everything that a plant wants in terms of nutrients, but also the plant growth promoting microbes. So what we have is, a reasonably nice sized, tilapia aquaculture pool that, a backyard grower might be able to implement, something like that. But it really is just a proof of concept where, we're using the biochar to keep these fish happy and growing. And the idea is to scale this up to fisheries, around the country, where in some cases they produce hundreds of thousands of gallons of wastewater daily that end up in lakes and rivers and places where it shouldn't, as nitrogen and phosphorus waste, which can cause problems with waterway pollution. And that's a challenge for them as to what to do with all of that wastewater and all of those nutrients. Well, those nutrients really should end up in fields as fertilizer, because that's what it's best used for, not in the Chesapeake Bay, for example, in our area. And so what we're hoping to do is take this proof of concept system and scale it to a fishery size operation where all of that wastewater goes through our biochar process, gets filtered back to almost drinking water level purity in some cases. The biochar is that effective at absorbing nutrients and microbes, and then being able to either reclaim that water in a recirculating fashion for their own system, or if they discharge it, they're discharging clean water and just not polluting the rivers and ultimately, we're on the East Coast, the Chesapeake Bay. And that, I think, is really the ultimate goal of this project, kind of where we're headed with this technology. In the case here, we're trapping the nutrients, putting it on a field where it belongs to help plant growth, or in the case of, when it's in the field, it's preventing that nutrient runoff in the first place. The net impact is a positive for plant growth where plant growth should take place and not in the waterways.
Hey, my name's Larry Footer. I'm the founder of Foop Organic Biosciences, and welcome to our fish farm. We're hoping to talk a little bit about how biochar, and specifically organic inoculated biochar, helps plants grow, and helps plants grow faster, and also helps plants deal with whatever nature might throw at them. So to start with, organic inoculated biochar provides a storage bank, if you will, for nutrients and moisture and microbes. And those are the three building blocks of plant life. So as our aquaculture systems are infusing the biochar with moisture, nutrients, and microbes, and then that biochar is mixed in with soil, there are a number of downstream benefits. The first is that because biochar is such an ultra-porous sponge, it will wind up competing with plants early on if it's not inoculated with moisture, nutrients, and microbes. And because this organic inoculated biochar is, for lack of a better term, filled up with moisture and nutrients and microbes, it's able to start leaching those critical elements into the soil on day one, rather than pulling them from the soil, in which case it's competing with plants. In a second instance, this stuff is super beneficial to repair depleted soil by replacing the microbes and the carbon that have been killed off through the use of pesticides, fungicides, what we call microbicides, because they're really just killing the organic material in the soil. And most organic farms, or most farms in general, don't have the organic matter to absorb a proper rainfall. So it's a little known fact that most farms in the United States have less than 1% organic matter in the field, which really means that they can absorb about an inch of rainfall. A good organic farm has upwards of 5% organic matter, and therefore can absorb 5 inches of rainfall. To create organic matter on a farm is no easy process, and biochar is a great substitute where it can absorb about 1 inch of rainfall per percent that's in the soil. And the end result is that you can build up a farm to be able to absorb a 5-inch rainfall using biochar in a matter of a season, where it might take decades to get the organic matter content up. And why is this important? Because for every inch of rainfall that field can absorb, that's not runoff going into the local stream. And the end result is that the field doesn't get depleted of its microbes, its topsoil, its organic matter, and can absorb the rain, and this all doesn't leach out into streams and rivers. And this benefits plants in a number of ways, because if the soil is eroding and all of the nutrients and the microbes in the topsoil are being taken out and put into the streams through runoff, it's not only bad for the streams, it's even worse for the farm. And this is a way to keep what the plants need on the farm, which is the topsoil, the nutrients, and the microbes, and not have it wind up in the stream where it's going to start hurting fish. Second is, this product can help with a number of different applications, ranging from farming to landscaping to even things like biosequestration and bioremediation. So biosequestration is the process of taking atmospheric carbon through trees and sequestering it into the soil. And we see that as a huge market for this product. And what's unique is that since the product itself is made out of carbon, and the act of using it and applying it to soil is an act of sequestration, when using this product for biosequestration, you're sequestering carbon to help grow a tree so it can sequester carbon out of the atmosphere faster. And we think that's a game-changing component of this. Biochar can be used in containers, in fields, in seedling and potting mixes. It can be run through a spreader. It can be used during transplanting. It can be used under sod that's newly laid. It can be used in conjunction with seeding a lawn or a pasture. Basically, anytime there's a plant growing for any purpose, whether it's an edible, ornamental, or for the purposes of remediation or sequestration of carbon, biochar can be a useful tool to both accelerate the growth of that plant, to reinvigorate and rejuvenate depleted soil, while simultaneously sequestering carbon. Organic inoculated biochar is currently available on our website and at Amazon.com. You can find it at www.thefoop.com or at Amazon.com/Foop, and look us up on social media. We're at The Foop on Instagram and Foop Organic Biosciences on Instagram and on Facebook. And thank you for trusting your plants with Foop.
All right, I hope you enjoyed that tour. Shout out to Larry and Justin for showing us around. They were super awesome. I will put some links for their products and website in the show notes. If you enjoy these sorts of tours or Growers Daily or anything else we do, pick up a copy of the Living Soil Handbook over at no-tillgrowers.com or other merch. That helps to make this work and everything we do possible. Or if you'd like to support our work in general, you can do so over at patreon.com/no-tillgrowers. That's awesome too. Otherwise, thanks for watching. We'll see you later. Bye. Can I help you? Key?